You ever had a neighbor so relentless, so cartoonishly petty, you'd swear you were trapped inside a bad sitcom? Because that's what I found myself living through. And let me tell you, if you'd told me 2 years ago the scariest thing in my life would be a pink cardiganed HOA president and her imaginary dog, I'd have laughed you out the door. But here we are, and yeah, that happened. I got sued for a dog that never existed. And when I laughed, she called the cops. Not kidding. The real noise that morning wasn't a barking doge, it was the sound of Karen Ronald's ego cracking wide open. Let me back up a sec. It all started at dawn, like all the best wars don't with gunfire, but with a polite knock. 2 officers at my door, looking about as happy to be there as I was to see them. Cruiser idling at the curb, blue lights barely flickering. And there, across the street, Karen peeking through her immaculate bay window, cardigan tight, lips pursed in a little wave like a queen surveying the battlefield she thinks she owns. No way I was waving back. "Mr. Alex Thompson," one cop asked, clipboard out like a sword. "That's me," I said, trying to sound like I wasn't still half asleep. "We've received another complaint," he started, eyes darting down to the papers, "about violating leash laws, harboring an unregistered animal." I nearly lost it. The absurdity was breathtaking. A large, vicious beast, right? Maybe a corgi. The younger cop, barely old enough to shave, didn't know if he should laugh. "Sir, she says it's a dog, a large one. Barking all night again." "Again?" I told them we slept like babies. "And you know why? We don't have a dog. Look around, no food, no bowl, no chew toys, nothing." The officers weren't buying it, but they weren't exactly buying Karen's story either. "We're obligated to follow up, sir," the older one sighed. "She's filed complaints, attached fines of fines, yeah. Those arrived like clockwork, fancy envelopes every few days. First $50, then $100. The latest a cool $500 plus legal processing for a dog that doesn't exist." She could fine me for harboring a dragon. I shrugged. "Doesn't make it real." Right on cue, Karen stormed out onto her porch, cordless phone at her ear, fingers stabbing at my house for the whole street to see like she's Joan of Arc calling down fire. The officer's radio crackled dispatch again. "The complainant says the subject is becoming hostile." Hostile? I was barely awake. The cop dropped his voice. "Look, this is getting old. But she's the HOA president. She knows how to make things official. Second police visit this month. First was at dawn. Third would be worse." He handed me a notice. Not a Takeda record for Karen's ever-growing file. "Go to the next board meeting. Work it out," he suggested. Sure, like I hadn't tried that. Board meetings were just her and her yes men. My appeals were ignored. Emails bounced back. Certified letters unopened. All they cared about was obedience, not truth. As the cops pulled away, Karen gave me a little victory smirk, her curtains twitching as she kept watch. Inside, Sarah watched from the hall, coffee gone cold. "Everything okay?" she whispered. "Pizza, elite." But I knew this was no misunderstanding. This was a siege. My own home had become enemy territory. Karen thought I'd roll over, thought I was just another face to bully. She had no idea. But here's the thing, she never wanted peace. The phantom dog was a smokescreen. The real fight was just beginning. After 12 years in the Army, with scars you don't just wash off, all I wanted was a quiet life. Mow the lawn, stand over the grill, watch sunsets with Sarah. Lakeshore Meadows seemed like paradise, safe, clean, the whole community thing sold hard. The HOA was supposed to protect us. I bought in heart and soul. For a while, it was perfect garden, friendly neighbors, a calm, so sweet, it almost felt fragile. Karen's first move? A letter about my garbage cans, left at the curb an hour too long. She didn't call, just sent a warning complete with time-stamped photo. Then came the mulch incident. Turns out, only Cypress blend is allowed. My cedar wasn't up to code. Had to dig it all out and replace it while she watched from the window. Sarah thought it was hilarious, called her the mulch queen, but to me it felt like something else. Not rules control. Karen stalked the block with her clipboard, pastel suit flapping, hunting for any offense. Weeds, faded mailboxes, anything. Most folks just caved easier than fighting. Every little victory made her stronger. That was our mistake. You know what I mean? I'm a forensic accountant. I see patterns where the money flows, who gets what, who hides what. I'd spent years busting up corporate fraud. Never thought I'd need those skills for the HOA. But Karen turned my home into a battlefield. Then the phantom dog. Official letters slid through my mail, slot violation notice, unpermitted pet. Sarah joked about our ghost dog, Bartholomew. We laughed at first. I called Karen to clear it up. No mistake, she insisted. Complaint is valid. Who complained? A concerned neighbor, right? I offered to let her inspect the house. Not necessary, she snapped. 14 days to comply or else DNA test, registration fine. I appealed formal, certified mail. Came back unopened. Next envelope fine doubled. Refused stamped in angry red. That's when I realized this wasn't about rules. It was about making me kneel. Things escalated. More fines. More threats. HOA account delinquent, almost $1,000 now. I tried to fight back, sent videos, walkthroughs showing no dog, nothing. They fined me again, this time for filming other properties' my neighbor's roof in the background. Then the enforcers started showing up 12 big guys, Karen's nephews, doing slow drive-bys, parking out front, staring. Sarah was scared. That's when it got personal. The final straw? Saturday afternoon, I'm talking to my brother on the porch, laughing because you either laugh or you lose it. 2 squad cars screech up, cops jump out, hands on their holsters. Step away from the house. Karen's on her lawn, clutching her chest, performing for the neighborhood. She called 911, claimed I was armed and threatening. She tried to get me arrested or worse. She was weaponizing the police because I wouldn't back down over a dog that didn't exist. That night, I called Nikia, brother from the service, now PI. I laid it all out. He didn't laugh. That's attempted swatting, Alex. That's a felony. She's dangerous. Together, we set up cameras, gathered evidence, started digging into the HOA's finances. That's when we found It Green Pastures LLC, owned by Gerald from the board, overcharging for landscaping. Brenda, another board member, collecting pool maintenance payments while she vacationed in the Bahamas. Kickbacks, fraud, the whole board on it. The phantom dog? Just a distraction. Then Nikki uncovered the real twist. Karen's cousin had filed for a new company, the Gilded Leash LLC, with plans for a multi-million-dollar dog resort right on top of my house and my neighbors. She was harassing us, trying to drive us out for her land grab. That was the last straw. I put everything together, a bombshell presentation. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed. I laid out the evidence: fraud, kickbacks, the real estate scheme, the blueprints. Karen's cronies folded, confessed, ran. The neighbors, finally seeing the truth, revolted. Karen stood alone, her empire crumbling in the glare of cell phone cameras. The community's anger finally boiling over. The fallout was swift. Investigators showed up the next morning. Karen left in handcuffs, her kingdom gone. The board dissolved, fines erased, a new, fair leader chosen. My home, our neighborhood, felt light again. The fear, the constant tension was gone. People talked, laughed, planned barbecues. Power was back where it belonged. A few nights later, I sat on the porch with Sarah, sunset glowing, phone buzzing with news alerts about Karen's arrest. The quiet, the peace, it was everything I'd fought for. They asked me how far a man will go to defend his own. The answer's simple: as far as it takes. But here's the real question. How do we stop letting people like Karen take over in the first place? Where's the line between rules and real community? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts, your own stories, your take on justice and neighborly wars below. Let's talk about what makes a neighborhood worth fighting for.